Hey, it's Victor with LakelandCarKeys.com. I just wanted to make a real quick video to go over some basic pricing and our promotion for December of 2023. So these are your three main key types as far as automotive keys that need to be programmed. You have your transponder keys, which are usually just a regular black plastic head. They do have a chip inside them. They need to be cut and programmed to the vehicle. And these are remote keys, which are basically transponder keys with a built-in remote. So some of these will program all together, like this particular one. And this particular one will program both the chip, the transponder chip, and the remote together. Where some of these, like this and this, you have to do two separate programming. So you have to program the transponder, then you have to program the remote. And then we have what we call proximity keys, push to start, smart keys. So these are going to be your three main categories. And for the most part, I try to keep the pricing consistent. Um, you know, Obviously some keys cost a lot more. Some cars have, different programming procedures where it's a lot more detailed. And then it also depends on if you already have a working key, if we can access the security system, do I have to decode locks? So there's a lot of different things that will go into what price you pay for your key. Can you come to me or do I have to go to you? How far are you? Are you in my area? All these certain things. So when we ask all these questions to give you a quote, they all go into us getting you the exact price of what your key is going to cost you. Now, just your basic, your most common cars, your Asian and domestic cars, so your Chevys, Fords, Dodges, Hondas, Nissans, Toyotas, stuff like that. For the most part, your transponder keys are always going to be $145. The remote keys are usually about $175. And then your smart keys are usually in the $235 range. Like I said, it varies from vehicle to vehicle and in different situations. So when you request a key quote, let us know the year, make, model, the location of the vehicle, and what type of key you have, whether it's a transponder key, a remote key, or a push to start smart key. And all those will go into factors of the price that we give you. Now, obviously, if you have a working key, we're going to ask you to set an appointment and come into our location. If you don't have a working key, you might be able to stay in this price range if you're close enough to us. And, we don't have to pay for a key code by VIN number, or, we don't have to do any extra labor as far as taking locks apart and decoding and all that other stuff. So just remember, when we want to give you a price quote, we need all that information. All right. So now the second part of this video is going to be our December promotion for what we call key cloning services. And what key cloning services is if you already have one working key to your vehicle and you need a second copy, you need a backup, you need a spare, whatever. A lot of times, a lot of these keys are what we call clonable. And what clonable means is basically I can take your key, put it in my little reader, read the transponder information out of it, and then put a key with a clonable chip in it inside and write that information to the new key. And then obviously just cut the blade. So once that's done, this will be a fully working key. You could get in, unlock the door, unlock the ignition, start up the vehicle, and drive. So not all keys are clonable, but like I said, most of your Asian and domestic cars will be. Some European cars, for the most part, are clonable. So if you have a question of whether your key is clonable or not, just send us that information and we'll be able to look it up and tell you if your key is clonable. So these keys, like I said, are usually in the $145 range. Usually if I can clone a key and, not have to use one of the expensive programmers and not having to plug into your car and do programming on the car, I usually do a clone for $100, which is $45 less than the transponder key. But for December, we're going to do a clone special. Anybody that sets an appointment and comes to our East Lakeland location at 3135 US 92 East in Lakeland, we will make you a clone key for $75. So that's nearly half off of what a normal transponder key would cost you. So obviously you must have, one working key to your car. You must be able to bring the car to us by appointment, and we'll make you a clone key for $75. All right. So I'm just going to give you a real quick example of some things that we say, keys that we say are clonable. All right. So this, I'm not sure. All right. This is actually a key shell. That's not the actual key. So this is a Toyota, and it's a flip blade remote key. So I'm going to put it in my machine. I'm going to read the transponder. Let's see right there, the second line. It tells me it's clonable. So what that means is I can read the information from this key, and had this, been the same blade type as that, I could have put it in, wrote the information, cut the blade, and started your vehicle. So all these are the same. So obviously you're not going to have the remote functions, but you will have a working key to your vehicle that you'll be able to start and drive. So I'm going to go ahead and read this one. All right. You see that one's clonable. So this is a Nissan key. It covers a lot of different models. Here goes your Ford remote key. All right, so there you go, clonable. So even these. So these are what we call Fobic keys. They run for a lot of Dodge, Jeeps, Chryslers. And basically, I know it looks a lot like that Mercedes key, but it's just a remote key. That's all it is. It has a little blade that comes out here that you could use for the door if your battery's dead. But, it's just another electronic remote key. So I'm going to go ahead and read the transponder on that. You see, it's clonable. So we do have special keys that mimic this piece that just has the regular transponder head on it, that I can clone this key. You won't have a remote, but you'll be able to start and drive the vehicle. This is a clonable. So I also want to give you 2 examples of keys that are not clonable. So this is for a Mini Cooper. I believe this is on an EWS system for Mini Cooper, which is kind of like an EEPROM program. So I'm going to go ahead, read the transponder, and see it right there. It tells me it's unclonable. So I cannot make you a clone copy for this key. And here goes a domestic example. This is for some of the later model Fords, where the earlier ones and even some of the earlier flip blades are clonable. But this one, I believe, is a 128-bit encryption chip. And from what I understand, they're not clonable. So I'm going to go ahead and read that information and see. It tells me it's unclonable. So the clone special, obviously, if you have a transponder chip key, we could clone it. If you have a remote key, more than likely we can clone it. Obviously smart keys are not going to be included in that, because you can't take a regular blade and start a push to start car. It just doesn't happen that way. So yeah, if definitely like us on Facebook. Always shoot me a message on Facebook on our business page. You could call us or text us at 863-409-2569. You can always find us online at www.lakelandcarkeys.com. We do have an online quote form there where you can fill out your vehicle information, fill out your information, and then we'll get back to you with a quote on whatever you need. I just want to give you a quick rundown, and I'm going to be advertising the Clone Key Special for the rest of the month. So if you don't have more than one key to your car, this is a good time to get a backup programmed key for real short money. Just to put it in hindsight, if someone in the local area calls me for a lockout, it's minimum $75. And that's just me unlocking the car, not, providing them another key. Sometimes I go and do lockouts and people think the key might be inside the car, and it's $75 for me to go and unlock it. I mean, why would you rather pay $75 for an unlock where you could pay $75 and have a spare key for your car? This is just, it's going to save you a lot of headache, and, you don't have to worry. I just want to give another example. This is not actually a Volkswagen key. This is a universal key, but a lot of the Volkswagen keys are similar, very similar to this. And from like 2010 to say 2015, 2016-ish, those Volkswagens they're a pain in the A. Nobody really wants to deal with them, and when you don't have one working key, they can be, time consuming and cumbersome to make a new key to them. So what happens is when you put your key into your ignition and turns it on, it reads the transponder. It says, okay, it disables the security, you can start it. So when programming, these certain years of Volkswagens, we can't just say, oh, he lost all his keys, let me plug my programmer in and program another key, like we can do with Chevy, Ford, Dodge, Honda, Toyota. We can do that. With Volkswagen, you need a working key to be able to access the security system to program more keys. So if you lose all your keys on your Volkswagen and we cannot access the security system, like I said, it's real. It involves removing the gauge cluster, disassembling the cluster, and either soldering to it or removing the chip or having a special adapter to read all the security information. Then go and use another programmer with an add-on to basically inject that information into a key so that it can work. It's not something we do. I usually refer people to the dealership for that. But those flip blade Volkswagen keys, as long as it's not push to start, we can usually clone those. So say you have this key, you have your working key, whether it's, just a transponder chip key or, the flip blade remote key. We can make you a clone copy that you could put in a safe place at home, that if your key does ever die or, accidentally go through the wash or get lost or whatever, you still have a backup that has not only the copy of the blade, but it's able to start the car, unlock the car, access the security system, that we can easily program in another remote key to the vehicle. Because we don't have to, disassemble anything on the car. We can access the security information with the clone key. So as far as the car knows, the car doesn't know that you're using a clone key. It thinks you're using the original key. So I always tell people, especially people with those Volkswagens, Golfs, Jettas, Passats, whatever have you. If you only have one key, having one key to those cars is like the worst thing you could ever do. Now you could get a clone copy, a clone transponder key, and have a backup and have a way to get in a security system that if anything to your main key ever did happen, you have time to go ahead, get us, have us make another key, and then still keep your backup in a good place. All right, so I'm gonna wrap this up. If you have any questions, you can shoot me an email, vic@lakelandcarkeys.com. Like I said, my preferred method of contact is shoot me a message on Facebook. That way I could always just go back and refer to our conversation if I ever have to look up anything or do some following up. If you call me, your number's going to be lost in, my call log of, 20, 30 calls from that day. So definitely, Facebook is the best method of giving me a contact. And like I said, I'm going to do a separate video and more promotion on the Transponder Clone Key Special. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to wrap this up here for now. Thank you for watching. I know this is longer. It's a lot longer than I want it to be, but I am definitely going to get a series of shorter videos going. LakelandCarKeys.com.